Hello, hello. This is Kinesiology 234, and been busy at work, kind of behind the scenes, organizing a few things to try to make life a little bit easier for all of us. I'm the kind of guy that I don't carry papers with me onto campus or off the campus. I try not to kill a bunch of trees as a result of my coursework that I assign to students. And so to that end, I've had to kind of rethink and repurpose a few things for this course in terms of how I wanted to deliver them. Now we know we have a capstone course, and we know that the capstone project for this course, excuse me, is the instructional portfolio. And one of the other presentations I went through and I broke out the client profile, the wellness talk, the reflection paper, and the training sessions in the syllabi, so it makes it a little bit better and easier to understand the grading for each. This presentation is specific to where to find these materials. And I thought about putting them in the learning modules, but the challenge we have is, even with our best of intentions of going Roy G. Biv on this thing to keep it organized, the challenge we have is over the course of his term, one of these components, for example, like the training sessions, while it will be due more towards the latter part of the course, it is something that is going to encompass the entirety of the course. And as a way to kind of keep things organized for everyone, I am envisioning a weekly assignment, if you will, for the training sessions, where we'll have, like I mentioned in the other presentation, we'll have 25 training sessions at 4 points apiece, and that will allow you to upload and load your information in for those training sessions, and I can grade them right away, as opposed to trying to, in the last week of the course, hammer through a 13-page document that your provider, actually more than that, probably more like a 25-page document that you're going to provide for me. And as stated before, because I like to do things online in the Blackboard environment, part of the challenge I have is to try to take what I'm looking to do conceptually and what we need done, quite frankly, for this course, so it meets certain criteria, and jam it into a Blackboard environment. So that's one of the challenges I have as an instructor, and that's one of the things I've been working on. So anyways, I took the content for the instructional portfolio and I put it in course materials. And what you'll see is in here, I'll have an actual folder holding on to all the different components, the client profile, the wellness talk, the reflection paper, and the training sessions. And I'll have for each one of those examples, what I'm looking for you to accomplish, what I'm looking for you to do for each one of these. I'm kind of targeting, this is going to be in the red, this will be in the orange, and these two will for sure be in the green. But the training sessions themselves will be ongoing, as I noted. So if we go ahead and open up client profile, and the client profiles were 25 points. And within here, in the client profile, there's a couple different components. And I've talked about it in class where we talked about the objective versus the subjective. And what I'm looking at is when you go into the assessment tools, I brought or linked over, if you will, a PDF on the National Strength and Conditioning Association website for health history, a PAR-Q on the NASM website, National Academy of Sports Medicine, and then a functional movement screen from the American College of Sports Medicine. And you'll be able to open each one of these as a PDF, or you can link out from here. With the functional movement screen itself, you look at this and you kind of view the document, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. It's one that's very, very objective, but yet it has a little bit of subjectivity because of there's a trainer who's doing the evaluation. Anyways, if we go back a screen and we look at this, you have the client profile. Now this client profile assignment will be due after February 10th because I want to go over it in class this week. And I want you to have a week to do this. Now I understand we don't have clients as of yet, but in a way I have to kind of keep this freight train rolling, So what we may have to do is have you guys partner up and go through an actual client profile assignment with each other, and we'll work from there. So let's go ahead and open this up so we can take a peek. And what I'm after on this is, I'm going to go back out one. I'm sorry here. I want to do this where it's actually a little bit more user-friendly for a guy like me to be able to walk through, because I'm in the instructor mode as opposed to the student mode. You have 16 questions, and it's worth 25 points. You have all essay questions, and things I'm looking for are, did you use a PAR-Q, yes or no? Please elaborate why you didn't or did use a PAR-Q to evaluate your client. If you did not use a PAR-Q, what type did you use? health history, etc. And I want you to elaborate on these things. And then why did you opt to use one type of questionnaire over another? And I'm looking for you to be specific here, not just kind of like, well, I thought it was a great questionnaire. I didn't want to deal with 3 pages of a health history versus a Part Q. Offer insight. That's what I'm after. A little bit of intellectual curiosity will go a long way in this class and just in life in general. So please elaborate. When you look at the results of the questionnaire you utilized, provide details regarding any kind of past or present health history for the client. High test scores, certain kind of issues, et cetera. And we'll elaborate a little bit further down in one of the other questions about this. But I'm looking for you to start to pick out some of the things that might be of issue with your client. Was there or is there any family history? Is there any kind of activity or lack thereof history? And the things you would normally find in a health history questionnaire and things that would stand out. You're looking at using those documents as a way to evaluate the readiness of that client for a workout program. Not so much for that workout that day, but it's for an overall program. And then, elaborate regarding those contraindications, right? If there were contraindications, how the heck did you proceed with this? What was your next course of action? In some cases, it might be to go to the doctor. In some cases, it might be go ahead and go for a workout. It just depends on what it is. And so when you have these results, whether it's a health history or a Part Q, you have to be able to sit across the table from somebody and point at a piece of paper and articulate, hey, this is what's going on with you. You're borderline hypertensive. Hey, your resting heart rate is at 90 beats per minute. That's on the high side. I think we need to take that test again, or maybe have another conversation. And those are very valid bullet points that you have to be able to, one, pick out with your client, but also be able to explain it to them in a manner that is concise to the point and provides value to them, and they can understand why you have a concern regarding a certain bullet point or a contraindication to exercise. So now, as you progress through the consultation with your client, we've worked a little bit on this in class, you should be able to articulate those concerns, and you should be able to kind of describe how you went from here's what's going on with you to here's where I think we can take you. And there's a subtle transition in there where you can evaluate some of those points, and you can have almost like a flow chart where it's like, okay, your hypertension is too high, and so you end up having to then redirect them to their doctor. Or if the hypertension is at a point that's acceptable, you can go ahead and work with them. So you have to look at this and go, okay, what is the overarching strategy for your client? And at that point, it might be a visit to their doctor. In another regard, like I said earlier, it might be you can go right out to the gym and go ahead and throw down a workout. But the big thing is, as you're going through this, you look at what is the overarching strategy for your client? What are you going to do with them? And then how do you integrate yourself into the process? I said it in one of the lectures, you start to say, pronoun, we, us, we're, and that's kind of integrating yourself into the process and how you're going to help that person, take them by the hand and take them through a fitness program to help them reach their goals. It's not they are going to do it, they're going to do it. It's we're going to do it, and we're going to do these things to make it happen. And we go ahead and go to number 9. And in number 9, the process should also include goals that are SMART goals, right? And this is to infer that these goals are specific, measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant and timely. And now take a moment to kind of outline these goals as they relate to your client, right? So in terms of here you have a client and you're going to go ahead and say, okay, your goal is to do this or X, Y, and Z. We're going to be able to measure your body composition or the weight on the scale or how much you push on the bench press. And is it realistically attainable? I know we've talked about this in class, and I'm going to just highlight it again. When you have a 40-year-old client who comes in who's had 3 kids and she wants to get back to her weight when she was, say, like a freshman in high school, that may be very unrealistic and not attainable. And you have to be able to explain that to that person in a manner that is proper, but also delicate, right? Because they might have achieved this goal in their head they want to achieve, and it might not be achievable. So you might have to redirect them. And then is it relevant and then also timely? So you have to have a time horizon for the goal itself. Outline these now. Outline these for the person that you have coming in who's going to be sitting across from you at the table. Whether it's somebody who wants to bench press, 315, or it's somebody who wants to get their body weight down or body composition down. When you sit across the table from somebody, did you take the time to utilize a body composition analysis as an evaluation tool for your client? And please explain why or why not. If somebody is in really good shape and they defer and don't want to use body composition, I get it. The high BMI people that I worked with, the 500 pounders at that medical group, those folks, we didn't have to do body composition. We all knew the storyline. It was all about losing weight, and we knew it was going to be fat weight. We didn't have to worry too much about what their body composition was because we know that they were of a high percentage of body fat, and we didn't have to put them through that test to prove it to them. They already knew it, and they knew they were out of shape. And that's a valid reason why not to use the dang thing. So when you did the body composition, did you go over that 2-compartment model that we used in class? And then as a result, did your client understand like the concept behind the 2-compartment model, how they can lose weight, perhaps how they can add a little bit muscle, and what that will do to body composition and percent body fat? And did it help, right? Did it help to gain a greater clarification of their goals? Is using movement screen, FMS, for example. If you did, why'd you choose that one? And what were your findings? Did they get a 21 or did they get a 3? And from there, how would you utilize that going forward? And when the client first came in, they should have initially stated some type of goal, what they're trying to accomplish. It's getting stronger, to lose weight, maybe get up the stairs faster. They have a wedding coming up, a vacation coming up. What was their specific timeline for the goal they presented? Because that now ties back into your SMART goals here in terms of timely, in terms of how much time you have to achieve that goal. And where that goes a step further is now it presents, do they have a realistic situation, right? Did you find that the goals are realistic in what they're trying to accomplish with the timeline? I need to be thin. I got to fit into my wedding dress. I got to lose 30 pounds and I got to do it in 4 weeks. I hate to tell you, it's going to be a bit of a challenge, right? Somebody wants to pack on 20 pounds of muscle in a month and a half. That's also going to be a challenge. We're talking much longer time horizon. You have to be able to guide people down that path. The other thing is too, when you look at this, you start to go, okay, why do you want to get stronger? Why do you want to lose weight? You need to dig in and be able to find out more. What I'm looking for here is, great, they want to go ahead and look better for their wedding, but why? Or they want to be able to run around with their kids on the soccer field, but why? When I talked about this in class, I brought up the very real example and conversation I had with a client where they said, I want to be able to run around with my kids on a soccer field because my father couldn't because he died when I was 6 years old. That is very real, and that's a deep, deep, deep motivational tool and a very deep why as to why that person is sitting there. And you got to dig for that a little bit, all right? Last but not least, this guy's worth 10 points, so don't slack on this. I want you to apply that kind of fit concept of training here. And when you first meet with somebody, you have to view this in terms of you have a 4-week block of time, a mesocycle, and you're using that 4 weeks to, in some cases, just introduce the person to working out, getting yourself on the schedule with them, and then also kind of indoctrinating them to the process of being in a gym and working out and how things happen. And I want you to take the time to look at this and go, okay, over the next 4 weeks, Mrs. Johnson or Mr. Jones, here's what we're going to do. I want you to work out X amount of days, and you and I will work out from what we talked about. It'll be 2 days a week, but I need you to be accountable to work out another 2 days on your own. Please come in, do some cardio, play around with the equipment we went over, just try to replicate a few things. I'm not asking you to completely replay and replicate the workout that we did, but I want you to be able to get here on our days off to kind of keep the momentum going. I'm looking for you to work out X amount of time with us. We already know that's in place, but when you come in on your own, just give me 30 minutes. Take 30 minutes, get a workout, maybe 10 minutes of cardio, and go from there, all right? And I want to do this with you for the next 4 weeks. Now, I know you and I talked about it, and I talked about this before where I've had clients come in, they go 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. That's a plan. That's a plan you map out over time. For a workout, here's how hard I'm looking for you to work out, and this is what I'm looking to accomplish over time. Beyond that, here are the rep and sets that I'm looking for you to accomplish. How many times I want you to jump on that dang box, how many miles on a bike, or how long on a bike, which kind of ties into duration. These two are sometimes interchangeable. And then I want you to be able to quantify these. So this will get pretty involved, so don't be shy with having a pretty expansive answer here. It's worth 10 points. So to that end, I'm going to bail out of this presentation, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Email me if you have questions regarding this assignment.